it surprise you when you found people that had been nice to you and treating you with some modicum of respect to see them turn on you like that because you pursued the truth and the truth wasn't convenient for them?
Yeah, it did surprise me somewhat, though not entirely. I mean, I think I knew with that issue, I knew there would be blowback. What's the blowback didn't surprise me as much as how organized it was. Like, it was very clear that meetings had taken place and that we are going to collectively, as institutional leadership, put out a statement, and that the overwhelming power of our institutional respectability should overwhelm this one journalist out there. And then hopefully, my sense was hopefully she will tuck her tail in and slink away embarrassed about what she said.
Did it surprise?
Okay. And we are here. Lucas is here. Good to see you, Lucas. Okay, your phone is 10%. Regards charged last night. Good morning, Joel. Well, hopefully it's got enough juice where you could stay with us, Lucas. So that was Megan Basham, and I'm going to follow up a little bit on my talking about her book, Shepherds for Sale. Get my camera figured out here. This book here, Shepherds for Sale. I talked about it last week. I'm still in the process of reading it. It's hard to find time to read it. But this is a little bit about the reaction that she's gotten from evangelical leaders that she called out by name. And in the book, she takes pains to, at the beginning, to talk about who she is mentioning, who she's not. And if they're pretty much on public record, saying things, or if they said things in the public domain, she was going to name their names. And she stuck pretty well to that. I hear there is some controversy about whether in her section of, there's a chapter, she deals with the Me Too movement, how that the church, a lot of churches glommed onto that, adopted that, participated in that, and turned it into a church too movement. And she talked about the Southern Baptist Convention and how they had dealt with someone who was accused with the same abuses that men's rights and due process and, no proof necessary. Automatically, the man's guilty. And she describes one or two scenarios within that. And I heard that there was some controversy on whether she had permission to use one of the names. But I think they used the names, and that person, openly participated in building that movement within the Southern Baptist Convention. So, but it's interesting, the reaction, and people have a right to react. I know that John Ortland's son, I think his name is Gavin Ortland, had a lot of responses to it because he was named and called out in the book several times. And AC, you came in. Morning, AC. Okay, AC and Lucas are chiming in. But I know there's been some reaction, but it's funny. It's hard to find it. I've been doing a lot of searching on trying to find people that reacted strongly to it. I've heard that there's a lot of backlash against her. I just can't find a lot of it because she really does back up what she says. I think I've counted 50 pages of notes that she has in the back of sources and references to what she says. So it's well researched. Okay. Shane. Oh, Chantel. Oh, hi, Chantel. Sorry. Sorry, Chantel. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. And this is Nobody's Fault podcast. They just received her book. Can't wait to read it. Yeah, it's a must read, whatever you think of it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's something that you need to read. like I said, it came out last year and it did well. But again, like I said last week, with Charlie Kirk's assassination, it has really hit the forefront because really, Cash. Everyone calls me Cash. Okay, Cash. I'll try and remember that. And really, I think the reason it's gotten so much attention now, it's got kind of a second life, is the reaction of a lot of the evangelical leaders to Charlie's death, to his assassination, to his killing. It's really I don't know understand what the motivation or what the reasoning is for people who didn't want Charlie's name even mentioned in church, or people that are actually, I've seen Christian people that there was one Christian family in my church that when my pastor mentioned Charlie Kirk's assassination in the most non-offensive way he possibly could, even to the point of asking prayer for the shooter's family, because obviously they were not part of it and they're the ones that turned him in. And so he said, we need to pray for everybody in this situation, including the shooter's family. He might even have said, including the shooter, which, you can't get any more gracious than that. You can't get any more neutral than that. But he did mention Charlie's name, and one church in the family, and one family in the church, excuse me, decided that was too much, and they left. A long time family. And but a lot of churches had several people leave because they either did or did not mention it. But for not those that just refused to mourn this, or chose to have the reaction that somehow it's not legitimate to be shocked and outraged and mourn Charlie Kirk's death, it's just is mind-boggling. And that is one of the things that it rekindled these issues that Megan is talking about in the book. And so a lot of people that are targeted in this book legitimized it by their behavior and by their reaction to, a point in time in Christian history, or at least American Christian and world Christian history, really, because the world reacted to Charlie. We talked about that at the time. The whole world reacted to this, the whole Christian world for sure, and the whole world in general. So it really rekindled this issue, and that's why this book is brought to the forefront, and that's why I decided to read it and tackled it on my podcast, because the same people, a lot of the same people that are mentioned in the book are the same people that had this confounding reaction to Charlie's assassination. So, and I remember I did catch one reaction to some of the criticism that Megan is getting, and the guy said what I say a lot: Christian leaders have brought this on themselves. They created this problem with the way they handle things. Okay, Cash. I go to Calvary Chapel Church and went specifically to honor Charlie the Sunday after. My old church wouldn't even mention his name. There you go. So that kind of thing is what brought these issues back to life. Megan's book would have done well last year and probably just been gone the way of all books that do well. And, surged. Everybody read it. Everybody had read it. Once everybody has read it, it kind of just goes back on the bookshelf, right? But the way some people reacted, it brought these issues back to the forefront. It brought her back to the forefront. She's been doing all kinds of social media and media. And here we are with her book now back in prominence, and these people being called out yet again. More people are reading this, calling out of these evangelical leaders who really did trade truth for a leftist agenda. That's just, and she's, like I said, it's footnoted, it's researched. She backs up everything she says. She may be wrong on one or two things, or maybe not completely accurate, but fine. Then, challenge her on that, get that cleared up, set the record straight on one or two things. But, my sense is, and from what I read and from the way she's got it documented and from what I remember, my experience at the time, she's right on. And as I told you, when I first heard about this book, just the title itself, I said, I knew she was onto something, because this is what I talk about a lot. And this is what I've kind of been banging a drum on. So that's kind of the reaction that's happened. Actually, since she wrote the book, she's had a cancer diagnosis. And I think she's gotten through it okay. I know she had some chemo treatments and things like that. Hopefully we'll have her here for a long time, and nothing else will come of that. But so that's what I just thought I'd chip in. My last 2 cents on this. It is a fantastic book. It's timely. Again, I think she's over target by the way people are reacting to it. It rings true with people who went through all the things that we've gone through in the last 5 or 6 years and are still going through. For those that think that these things have a lot of these things have kind of gone out of fashion because they obviously went too far with the Me Too movement and all the other things. Obviously the COVID reaction was way over the top. And the left has overplayed its hand, obviously. And they've had a backlash politically and spiritually. Nobody is looking to them for answers anymore, the progressive Christians. But they're not going away. They're still going to try. And if we let our guard down, the shepherds that have been bought and paid for will have influence again. So I think reading the book, if you hadn't read the book, it's good to read the book, just if for no other reason, to find out what's happening now, what's happening out there now in the Christian political sphere and cultural sphere, because she really nails it on the head, and it shows in her notes and her preparation. So that'll be pretty much my last word on that. The other thing I wanted to talk about today that came up, and this, I'll get my act here together. I've noticed that lately people are talking about a digital ID, and what I wanted to do was present a couple videos I saw on it. And this first one is from, let me add it to the stage here. It's from Fox. And this is Laura Ingraham talking about digital ID. See if we can get this going.
Do you see any of the little alerts about the new iPhone
Oops. I figured this
update? Guess what? It's going to let you add your passport to your Apple Wallet. It creates something called a digital ID that you can use whenever you need to show ID, including at the airport, to get on domestic flights, for a lot of things. And it sounds super nifty and so convenient. Everything in one place. Well, if you think that, you must have more trust in big tech safeguarding your privacy than I do. But at least here in the United States, this idea of a digital ID is optional, at least for now. But in the UK, it looks like the digital ID will soon be mandatory, at least if you want to work.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's not simple. I mean,
okay. So the idea is a digital ID that you put in your wallet, in your phone. Remember what I told you about these things? Okay. I've been saying this lately. These things that we are so addicted to, that have so much power and control over us, are going to be used for a lot of really bad things. So, did you catch the authoritarian tone of that British gentleman talking in that something? What was it, World Economic Forum or whatever, or World Unity, talking about, hey, this is something that's coming by the end of this parliament, which I assume meant by the end of the year. And this was, when was this? Let me take a look here. This was 5 days ago. So this is coming to the UK. So you will have this, ID on your phone, and it's there to consolidate data basically into one place. Consolidate data on all of the basically of all the information gathered, all the data gathered from everybody's iPhone. And AI, artificial intelligence, can do this. It's powerful enough to have everybody's data all in one place. And I want to play a reaction of a Chinese gentleman. Let's have this guy come up there. He was interviewed in London about this. People were asking him about this, and I just wanted, I'm a little slow. Hopefully you guys are getting this. Again,
Heating companies get pissed when you do this, but they can't do a damn thing about it. This heater warms entire rooms in under 2 minutes.
Okay.
Slashes.
Sorry about that. So let me see. Yeah.
For Chinese Communist Party.
Heating companies get pissed when you do this, but they can't do a damn thing about it. This heater warms entire rooms in under 2 minutes, slashes heating bills by 90%.
Digital ID. Digital ID is very terrible things, you know. That is the ruling mode of the Chinese Communist Party.
Because
the ID system is very bad, you know. They will monitor every behavior, every speak you made. Do you understand? Huawei, Zhongxin, Datao, they all military company. Their boss is they are boss.
Okay. Sorry about that. But what he was saying, they asked him about a digital ID, and he says digital ID is about the worst thing you could possibly do. And he starts talking about how the military, those are military companies that are developing this. But he goes on later to say why the digital ID is such a terrible, the digital ID is such a terrible thing, such a bad idea, is because it's the mode of control that the communist Chinese government uses to control its citizens. And we've heard a lot about this. The social credit system in China basically is the model that they want to adopt. And I know that a lot of progressives, people, politicians, leaders admire China for what it's doing because it allows them ultimate control. It gets around this problem that leaders have in controlling their populations. One of my favorite guys to listen to is a guy named Mark Stein, and he made a point. Back in the olden days, in like if you were a serf or something in England or Britain or France, the king didn't really know what you were doing, and the king didn't much care. As long as you paid, once a year or once every 6 months when the tax collector came by to get his share, as long as you paid that, the king really didn't care what you did, right? Because he couldn't keep track of everybody. Nowadays, they can keep track of everybody. They can keep track of everything you do every moment of the day because you're carrying this stupid thing around. Okay. And we're all addicted to it. Face it, we're addicted to it for convenience sake. And that's what they can do now. Now the government, the king, Caesar, whoever you want to call it, can keep track of everything you're doing. It knows every social media post you make. It knows everything you listen to. If you listen to Christian Perspective or the Faith Filter podcast, which is my other platform that this will be on. So, Lucas, yeah, it's coming to Canada that to get social assistance or old age pensions, you'll have to have the digital ID. Yeah. And that's what you open yourself up to in a socialist society. When you look to government to take care of you or to take care of someone else at someone else's expense, right? This is what you have. You give up control. And this will also come into play. I was listening to someone in my research on this who was talking about digital currencies. When they, in a couple years, when they start changing the way currencies are interchanged. There's currencies that are interchanged between banks in themselves, and then there's a different currency model for interacting between customers and banks or people in general. There's two types of currencies that are used outside of the currency we're using, outside of the dollar or the pound. And when something like universal basic income comes, which again, this is kind of a perfect storm that's forming in like the next 5 years. If AI takes everyone's job, there's going to be a real call for a universal basic income. If nobody can get a job, then somehow people have to eat, right? So this model of a universal basic income will come, and it'll be tied to these currency models, these digital currency models, and it'll be tied in a lot of ways to retirement, like Lucas says. Your pension will be tied in to these digital currencies, which will be tied in to AI, which will be tied in, connected with your phone, and the Chinese style model will be in effect. And what this Chinese gentleman went on to say is they keep track of you. If you like the wrong video, like I said, or you post the wrong thing, or you watch the wrong video, or if you're in the wrong place, say you're in an evangelical church that's been deemed hateful, or a Catholic church, right? Or, you went to see Rob Schneider, a conservative comedian, right? They're going to know it. And they're going to be able to punish you for your wrong think and your wrong speak or your wrong action. And pretty soon you'll discover that, you can't go to the store and buy your groceries because you have red marks on your social credit score, or you can't get on a bus, or your car, which is computerized and can be programmed to stop outside of a certain radius of your house. You're not allowed to go outside of a 1 mile radius of your house, 10 mile radius, whatever it is, because your digital ID tied you into this social credit network, and the government doesn't like what you're doing. That's what it's like in China. And that's if this takes off, and the tone of that gentleman's voice when he was speaking about the digital ID coming to Great Britain, he says, you will not be able to work. And that's how it's going to go. He doesn't say we're going to ease this in. We're going to try this. It's kind of a radical step. We're going to see how it works. We're going to do a trial run. It's going to be voluntary at first till we figure out. No, he didn't say any of that. He said, this is going to happen. Whether you like it or not, by the end of the year, you either have this or you can't work, which means you can't eat, right? Basically is what he's saying. You don't have any rights as a citizen to work and to provide for yourself. So I don't know if they'll be able to go on government assistance. Okay. In Canada, according to Lucas, you can't, is coming to Canada that to get social assistance or old age pensions, you'll have to have the digital ID. So who knows what will happen to people in Britain if they don't get this ID? It's called the Faith Filter Podcast. You can get it on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, or actually YouTube too. A friend of mine set me up. It's basically the same content you're seeing here. So he's just putting it online on a separate thing. He's taking shorts of what we talk about here. So yeah, you can check it out. That's what is coming. This definitely fits into biblical prophecies. My eschatology is a little fluid right now, but if there was ever a model that an authoritarian world power government, if there were a way that would happen, this is it. The interconnectivity and the convenience, and that's what it'll be sold by. That's what this was sold by. How this was sold. It's so convenient. And I think the guy that I was watching did some research, and he asked some people, hey, as far as the universal basic income, he said, if you were promised £1,000 a month, he did this in Britain, and all you had to do was tie into this digital ID, you'd have to give up some of your rights as a citizen. Would you do it? Would you be willing to give up those rights and tie into this system where you're monitored all the time for £1,000 a month? And most people said, yeah, I take the £1,000 a month. Why do I care about my freedoms? It's so convenient. Hey, I get free money. And that's how it happens. That's just how it happens. And God forgive us for taking for granted the freedoms that people like my father fought for, and people before him, all the way back to the founding. All the blood and sweat and tears that was put into giving us these rights. In Great Britain, it goes back even further. It goes back 1,000 years to the Magna Carta, right? God forgive us for what we've done, for the situation we've created to where we are so easily deprived of our rights with our consent, just because it's convenient. And the guy I listened to estimates probably 90% of the population will do this without question, and they will sign up for free money. And the 10% that hold out, we'll see if that's going to be enough. That's kind of a bummer. But if you do hold out, if you do forsake the convenience of everything, your reward's going to be in heaven. This is the test. Do we really believe this stuff? Do we really believe what we say we believe as Christians? Okay. Are we really living for eternity? Is this earth our home, or is heaven our home? Do we have an eternal mindset, or do we just have a temporary mindset that craves convenience and ease and endorphin hits? Because that's what these things are all about. Okay. And I get them too. I'm not pointing any, I point the finger, 3 fingers pointing back at me. I get caught up in my little digital world a lot. Just ask my wife. She'll tell you. So that'll be the test coming up. Again, the curse of living in interesting times, right? I've told you that one before. So we'll keep an eye on it here. This is coming, and we better be prepared for it. And God willing, we will be. And if we stay faithful and to the truth that we know, because this is really what this is all about. Is a fight for truth, the truth of God's word, and the truth that we have, and the light that we can shine. That's the state we're in. That's where we're at. So, and I'm out of time, and that went really fast. Thanks for listening. And I will be on with Ben, tomorrow, I think we're going to be talking about giving thanks and having a heart of gratefulness this Thanksgiving. So I don't know if I'll see you next week. I don't think so, because it's obviously Thanksgiving. So we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.